Am I the asshole for being angry that I wasn't asked to be in the wedding party? One of my 28F best friends, Mark, 28M, just got engaged and he and his fiancée are planning to get married next spring. For context, Mark and I have been good friends since high school. My boyfriend, 28M, has also really bonded with Mark over the past 2 years of us dating, and they regularly go golfing together. We have also done lots of couples vacations, dates, outings together, and we're seemingly very close to Mark and his fiancée. My boyfriend and I just recently went to their house for a party, and Mark and his fiancée asked my boyfriend, whom they know through me, and only for a couple of years, to be in the wedding party as a groomsman. I was not asked to be a bridesmaid, so I would not be involved in the wedding party at all. When I asked Mark about this, he said it was because they wanted even numbers, 5 groomsmen and 5 bridesmaids, for the wedding party, and that his fiancée already had enough bridesmaids. I thought for sure I would be asked to be in their wedding as a bridesmaid, seeing as they were my good friends, and I would have 100% included them in my wedding party if I ever got married. So not only was I not asked to be in their wedding party, but my boyfriend, whom they'd known for all of 2 seconds, was. I felt very hurt that they would ask him to be a part of their big day but not me. I confronted Mark about how hurt, sad, angry I was about this, especially because I don't know if my boyfriend and I will even still be together a year from now. Mark told me that he was sorry that my feelings were hurt, but he and his fiancée don't want to apologize for doing what they want with their wedding. Mark told me that this situation has impacted our friendship, especially since he doesn't think they have anything to apologize for. My boyfriend declined to be a groomsman and we haven't spoken to Mark since. Am I the asshole? Edit. Just to clarify, I never expected to be asked to be in their wedding. Of course I would love to be in their wedding party because they are my friends. I have been friends with Mark since I was 16 and friends with Elisa, Mark's fiancée, for going on 8 years now, and I would love to celebrate their love and happiness, but I never ever demanded it. If they never would have asked either of us to be in the wedding, I would have been totally fine with that. It's that they asked everyone else in our friend group to be in it, including my boyfriend. Everyone except me. When Elisa, Mark's fiancée, talked to me about it, she said the only reason she didn't ask me to be in the wedding was because of the matching wedding party numbers, which was disappointing and hurt. I totally understand that it is their wedding and they should do what they like, but I also hope they wouldn't exclude me like that because of wedding party numbers. I know everyone says to not make it about me, but what do you do in that situation? Not say anything at all? I just felt a little blindsided. Maybe Mark and I weren't as close as we thought. Perhaps it's all for the best. Note: people are taking the boyfriend bit way out of context. My boyfriend and I have been on because of long-distance issues, but we love each other deeply. He is currently living back home, but that might change in the near future. He might have to move across the county for work, and I'm not sure if I'm ready to uproot my life and move with him yet. That's why I'm not sure where we will be in a year from now. It's all up in the air currently. Update: I called Mark, and we had a good chat. Unfortunately, in the end, we couldn't really come to a real consensus. I apologized and admitted that I didn't go about the situation correctly. I let my emotions get the best of me, and I acted hurt and immature rather than level-headed. However, I still don't regret bringing it up to him. Also, he asked me what was wrong to start that initial conversation because he knew I was a little off after the party. I didn't just go to his house and throw a tantrum. I understand it's their wedding and they can do what they want, but I also have the right to feel how I feel about it. So many comments suggest that I should have sucked it up and went to the wedding as a guest with a smile, but our friendship would have been impacted either way. Our main friend group is comprised of 5 girls, including me and Elisa, and 5 guys, including Mark. She took the 3 other girls in the group as well as her sister and Sil for bridesmaids. He took the 4 boys and included my boyfriend as well for matching numbers. If they hadn't asked my BF, I probably would have been able to suck it up and watch all my friends participate in their big day. Would I have been hurt? Yeah. Would our friendship be impacted? Probably. But I at least would have had my boyfriend there with me. But no, I was the one left out. It seems it truly was a numbers thing, but I just can't get that to sit right, and I've tried. You cannot tell me that isn't hurtful. So yes, I am an asshole. But at least I am sticking up for myself and not allowing people who I have been friends with for years to do hurtful things just because it's our wedding, and we have to have even numbers. Friendships should matter more than that, in my opinion. Thank you all for your input, no matter what it was. I truly appreciate the third-party perspectives. Not the asshole. This sounds incredibly hurtful and I'm honestly shocked so many people think this is completely acceptable behavior. I don't know that it's a friendship breaker in itself, but I'd be lying if I said I gave the friendship the same weight after this. Especially that your boyfriend was included over you. Aside, it feels like that might have been something to do with gender L, as though you couldn't be on the groom's side, and I have always found that kind of thinking so utterly toxic and confusing. I'm sorry that this happened to you. I'm going to go against the grain and say you are an asshole for thinking this is about you. You supposed best friend is an asshole for thinking gender matching his party is more important than friendship. Your boyfriend is an asshole for being willing to do this when he knows these were your friends and not his originally, and the fiancé is an asshole because number matching is more important than friendship. These are all retrograde icky people. Why not dodge the whole wedding and go find people to hang out with that don't suck? Nah. I would also be upset if one of my closest friends asked my significant other instead of me. It's okay to be upset. On the other hand, they can pick who they want in the wedding and do not have to apologize for it. Not the asshole. It would have taken Mark and Elisa 5 seconds to say, "Hey, we wanted to keep the numbers down but you not being a part of it in no way implicates how we value you and your friendship," and instead they went into a very extreme route of, "Your feelings being hurt has made us rethink the friendship we have with you." IDK, it all sounds weirdly fishy to me, especially considering y'all have taken couples vacations together. Did Mark at some point have a crush on you in high school or have an attraction to you at some point? It could very well be that the friendship might not have been as platonic as you thought it was on his end, but Elisa knows and didn't want to think about that on her wedding day. Edited because I sent too soon. Not the asshole is so unnecessary to ask one partner and not the other. Especially when the bond and friendships with the other have been in place longer. If mutual friends asked my partner but not me I would be hurt too. Unfortunately if they didn't want you and only him they shouldn't have asked. Am I the asshole for wanting to give up our new puppy? So my partner, 38 female, and I, 42 male, just got a new puppy 9 days ago. She's just over 9 weeks old. She and I both have experience as dog owners so we knew what we were getting into. We're both parents of 2 and we both share custody with our exes. 3 out of 4 of our kids love the new puppy. My son, 8 Yo, the youngest child, has very mixed emotions about her and as of right now would like her gone. My son used to be terrified of dogs. To him, even the smallest dogs were scary, especially when they bark and jump. He used to go into a legitimate fight or flight response when he was around them. In fact, he gets real stressed out about lots of activities, like bike riding for example, and my partner and I have worked long and hard to help him overcome these fears with great success. Last year we started exposing him to some very chill older dogs with the same success. He realized that he likes dogs when they aren't jumping and barking all over him. We thought he was ready to move on. His mom did too. A few weeks ago we brought our puppy, now called Buttercup, home to try exposing him to her and to our delight he was enamored so we adopted her and as soon as she turned 8 weeks old, we took her to the vet, got her shots and everything for her, and brought her home. Everything was fine with my son at first but as the days have stretched on, and he's gotten to see what a puppy is actually like, he has seemingly regressed. He feels like a prisoner and an outsider in our home. He blames himself for his vote to keep Butters and wishes he could take it back. Now, my partner and I were worried about this outcome. So we agreed that after 4 to 6 months, if my son couldn't get on board with the puppy, then she would have to go and that my partner would have to be able to make peace with giving her up. Last night, I told my partner that ever since this shocking revelation about my son's secret true feelings, which were delivered by his mother, that my feelings about the puppy have begun to sour as well. It's been tough to love her when doing so would put a wedge between my son and myself. After speaking with my son about it, I'm still in agreement with giving her the full 6-month period to try to get the puppy properly trained and getting my son more comfortable with her. However, when I asked her if she'd resent him or myself if we still have to give her up after the stress months have passed, she said she probably would. So, I asked her if because of that, should we get rid of the puppy now so she doesn't get too attached. She warned me that if we gave up Buttercup now that her resentment would probably lead to the death of our relationship. Edit. I'm aware that yes I'm the asshole for getting the dog in the first place. At the time we thought we'd gotten past my son's fear and my partner has been desperate to have one for many years and I was out of excuses. Edit 2. Also, I'm not upset about my partner blossoming resentment towards my son. She's been nothing but sweet and supportive towards him. She can't control how she feels, but she's definitely controlling her behavior towards him just fine. Edit 3. My partner and I worked with my son extensively over the last year and seemingly got him past his fear of dogs. We were wrong. You are the asshole for getting the dog in the first place knowing your son's fear. Maybe you should have tried to foster puppies before adopting them instead of letting 3/4 of your kids grow attached to it and then maybe getting rid of it. You are the asshole. You don't buy a puppy when you have small child that is scared of dogs. If you ever want to buy a dog in those conditions, go to a shelter, look on marketplaces and adopt a dog that is already an adult and will be easier to manage. Sure. Yeah. Puppies are cute as hell, but it's not worth terrorizing your child over this when adopting an adult dog was a easier solution. Edit. Just saw your extra comment, and I stand by my point. Even more, you are the asshole. You choose a large, high-energy breed. It was clearly not adapted to your household. You are the asshole. My son is terrified of dogs. To him, even the smallest dogs are scary, especially when they bark and jump. He goes into a legitimate fight or flight response when he's around them. Bruh. Why the heck did you get a dog? You are the asshole. A puppy is a living, breathing being, not a toy to be given away just because your son no longer wants to be around it. And you, a grown adult, now want to hate on an innocent creature because your child is making you? I don't buy the whole "I have to get rid of this thing that I now hate because my son changed his mind." I think you saw how much work a puppy is and decided to nope out, using the child as an excuse. My son is terrified of dogs. We realized he is okay with dogs that are older and don't jump around as much. Anyways, we bought a puppy. Are you shitting me? At what point between last year to now did you guys throw out your brains and make such a ludicrous decision? You are the asshole, you and your partner, for how poorly you two handled this. Never bring another pet into your home. Frankly, none of you sound capable or responsible enough to have one until you all work out your shit. And get this kid into therapy, goddamn. You don't just get over phobias. Am I the asshole for reaching out to my niece after 14 years? 14 years ago, my 47M little brother passed away, along with his wife, leaving behind my niece and nephew, then 10F and 6M, now 24 and almost 20 respectively. When it happened, CPS reached out to me and my wife, currently 45F, asking if we'd take the kids in. My parents weren't in any state to raise them, and as far as I know there was some kind of estrangement going on between my sil and her family. I never asked. Most of them didn't come to the funeral, so it was us, or foster care. Me and my wife are both child-free by choice. We don't hate kids, we used to babysit for my brother all the time. But kids of our own were a deal-breaker, and as much as I loved my nibblings, we just weren't cut out for parenting. We had a 2-bed flat, but one of those bedrooms was basically half my office and half storage, and we had our future planned and couldn't promise the nibblings the time or focus they needed. It was a hard decision, but I chose to give the kids up, and my wife supported my decision. The kids' social worker tried to keep us in touch. She gave us the addresses of their initial foster homes, so I used to send them letters. It was probably naive of me, but I still hoped I might be able to see them, and be the fun uncle I'd been before. My niece never replied. Her brother sent back a couple, but over time he stopped answering too. Basically, until recently, I hadn't had any contact with them for over a decade. Recently, the wife and I decided to try out one of those ancestry DNA things, and my niece turned up on there as a potential relative. I thought maybe it had been long enough, and I finally had a way to contact her, so I messaged her via the site to try and catch up and ask how she was, if she was in touch with her brother, all of that stuff. In reply, I got one of the most unpleasant messages I've ever received. She sent me an honest-to-God essay about how I'm the scum of the earth for not taking her and her brother in. She blames me for them being separated, and apparently both of them had a rough time in the foster system and were shuffled between several homes after the ones I knew about, which is somehow my fault. Apparently, once she aged out of the system, she had to fight to take in her brother and she's been raising him since. I want to tell her I'm proud of her for that, and for everything, but she demanded I never contact her again. That said, I'm not her family. I tried to explain my side, but she's deleted herself entirely from the ancestry site. I looked for social media, but I'm blocked everywhere by both her and her brother. I think she searched me up after I messaged her. My wife says she's just angry, and doesn't understand the situation we were put in or that we still love her. But some of my friends have been cold since I told them. They're saying I made an ass of myself and that I've probably set off some trauma for her. Edit. Realized I accidentally called my nephew my son at one point. Sorry about that, I'm just very tired ATM and keep thinking about this, and what might have been, I guess. The consensus here seems to be I'm the aw. I still don't think it was my responsibility to take those two in, but I accept now that my niece has a right to be angry. She was a child and she needed your help. Her brother was a child and needed your help. Your reason of being child-free by choice doesn't matter to the orphaned children sent to foster care, and then separated from each other. The worst thing in the world happened to them, and then they learned that the only family they had left wouldn't help. Whatever love you say you had for them apparently wasn't enough to help them in the way they needed. That's all they need to know about you. You should have never reached out to either of them. Do you want to do something for them now? Put them in your will and then never give them another thought. You are the asshole. You are the asshole. You abandoned them. Did you have to take them? No. But you made a choice and that choice caused them pain, trauma and chaos for over a decade. They're allowed to be angry. Did you honestly think she would be happy to hear from you? You were the only link that had left to the family and you just cast them adrift. I know the system. You could have pushed for visitation and contact. You basically ghosted an 8-year-old. You don't do that to someone you love. You don't love them op. You don't even know them. You are the asshole. I cannot imagine what those kids must have felt knowing their whole family abandoned them when they needed them the most. As others said, leave them alone and go back to your selfish ways. You are the king of assholes on this one. You turned your back on family. Taking in children is never easy and it's always life-changing, but not taking them in is unforgivable. Your selfishness denied them their family and forced them to finish growing up with strangers. Your niece and nephew are right to block you and not want anything to do with you. You can't abandon kids in their time of unspeakable grief and incredible need and expect them to welcome you back with open arms. You deserve every bit of that unpleasant message considering what those kids went through. You are the asshole. Am I the asshole for not allowing my roommate's boyfriend to park his car in our driveway? This is an AITA asshole, but more of an AWTA. Are we the assholes? Since it's 4 of us. I am an undergraduate college student and live with 4 other undergraduate college students, all of us 2022F. We have a pretty decent 5-bedroom house with a small yard and 2-car driveway with a garage which we use for storage. For a college town, we live in a pretty nice area, but parking can sometimes be a nightmare. All 5 of us have long-term boyfriends. 4 out of 5 of us have cars. When we moved into the house last summer, we agreed that the driveway spots would go to 2 of the roommates. Our 5th roommate, A, was one of the roommates that was promised a spot. Unfortunately, she was T-boned just before we moved in and her car was totaled. Even though she really needs one to get to her classes and internship, A's parents do not want her to buy a new one and she can't currently afford to buy one herself. Instead, she has her boyfriend drive her wherever she needs to go. A's boyfriend parks in the extra spot in the driveway whenever he comes over and he is over for at least 6 hours a day, every day, and sometimes overnight. We, the 4 other roommates, have asked A and her boyfriend numerous times to park elsewhere at least 6 or 7 times. We have talked to both of them separately and together to no avail. No matter the amount of conversations, A's boyfriend continues to park his car in the one remaining driveway spot. This has been going on for almost a year. We, the 4 other roommates, have all told our boyfriends not to park in the driveway, and they have abided by our requests. A sees nothing wrong with this situation, as she was promised the spot at the beginning of the summer, and she thinks that since they're sharing a car, he has a right to park there. However, since the circumstances just happen to be that she doesn't have a car right now, the other 4 of us think that if the spot should go to somebody, it should be someone whose name is on the lease for our house, as 3 of us could really use that extra driveway spot. When A's boyfriend isn't parked there, we rotate who gets to use it. Of course, this rarely happens. It got pretty heated today as one of my roommates came home to see A's boyfriend in the driveway again, and she said that if it happens one more time, she will be calling the police. I really don't want the cops to get involved, but I am kinda fed up of him parking there, and feel a little disrespected that she won't just ask him to move. Maybe I'm just being too harsh. Are we being unfair? AWTA? Edit. Here is some more info regarding why we promised her the spot. We originally agreed to let her have the spot because she had a small sedan, and we did not know if any of the remaining 3 roommates' cars would even fit in the driveway, 2 pickup trucks and a large SUV. This was prior to us moving in. Once we moved in, however, we realized that the driveway was long enough that any of our cars could fit, granted only 2 at a time, and we loosely started who rotate got to park in either of the parking spots. This was until her boyfriend started parking there, and she claimed that he shouldn't have to move. Info. Why was she promised a spot and not the other 3 roommates? A. was one of the roommates that was promised a spot. You are the asshole. A was promised a spot but isn't using it herself because she no longer has a car. Instead, her boyfriend is driving her, so he gets to use her spot. Unless you revoked her right to use the spot and it's no longer hers, she gets to have the person providing her transportation use her spot. Only reason someone should be guaranteed a spot in the driveway is if they're paying extra for it. INTA. Why is he there that much? Being there that often he should be paying rent at this point. Park him in.